Evan and the alien woman pushed deeper into the forest, moving as fast as their tired legs allowed. The night felt colder now, heavier, as if the trees themselves were watching their escape. Every sound, every leaf crunch, every distant owl felt like a warning. The alien woman's breathing grew shaky again. The glowing lines on her skin flickered and dimmed like a dying light. Evan kept looking back, afraid he might see those red eyes again. "How far is your vehicle?" she asked breathlessly. 10 minutes if we move fast," Evan answered. She nodded, but her steps grew weaker. Suddenly she stumbled, falling to her knees. Evan rushed to her side. "Hey, you okay?" She held her head, groaning softly. "No, the energy. It's waking again. I can feel it like something trying to break out." Evan placed his hand on her shoulder. "Breathe. Stay calm." She shook her head violently. "I can't. It's not listening to me. It never listens." Her markings lit up suddenly bright, sharp and unstable. A pulse of blue light pushed the air away from her body in a sudden burst. Leaves flew in a circle. The ground cracked under her feet. Evan had to shield his face with his arms. When the light faded, she was crying softly. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean to hurt you." "You didn't," Evan said, kneeling in front of her. "I just need to help you control it." "How?" Her voice trembled. "I don't control it. It controls me." Before Evan could answer, a loud metallic roar echoed behind them. The hunters had found their trail again. Evan pulled her up. "We need to move now." She tried, but her legs shook violently. Evan supported her, lifting most of her weight as they half ran, half stumbled through the trees. The hunters' footsteps grew louder, heavy metal crashing against the forest floor. "They're almost here." She cried. "I know," Evan said, pulling her behind a row of thick trees. The forest suddenly opened into a large rocky area. A fallen tree lay across the ground, and beyond it, a steep drop of cliff with sharp rocks far below. Evan's stomach twisted. They were trapped. "I can't climb that," she whispered, staring at the cliff edge. "No," Evan said, eyes scanning wildly. "But we can hide or fight." "Fight?" She shook her head, terrified. "I'm not made for fighting." Another metallic roar shook the rocks beneath them. 2 pairs of red eyes appeared between the trees. Hunters stepped out slowly, their large mechanical bodies reflecting the moonlight. Evan pushed the alien woman behind him. He grabbed a broken branch, the only thing he could find. Even though he knew it was useless against creatures made of muscle and metal, the leading hunter looked at Evan, then at the woman, its red eyes narrowing like a predator recognizing its prey. The alien woman felt the energy inside. Her burst painfully again. Her body began glowing uncontrollably. She fell to her knees, screaming softly as light escaped from her skin in small sparks. "Stop!" Evan yelled, grabbing her shoulders. "Look at me. Don't be scared." Tears streamed down her face. "I'm trying. But the fear, it makes the power explode." The hunters charged. Evan didn't think he acted. He wrapped his arms around her tightly, pulling her close to shield her. "Hold on to me. Focus on my voice." The alien woman clutched his shirt, burying her face in his chest. Her entire body shook violently. The ground under them began to crack, glowing with blue lines like lightning under the soil. The hunters neared 10 feet. 8 feet, please. "Don't hurt him. Don't hurt him." She cried. Her markings exploded with light. A massive blast of blue energy burst from her body, like a shockwave of pure force. The air ripped apart. Rocks shattered. Trees bent backward. The hunters were thrown violently into the air, crashing into the rocks, metal twisting with loud screeches. Evan held her tightly as the energy storm raged around them. His ears rang. His eyes watered. But he did not let go. Gradually, the light faded. The forest fell silent again, Evan opened his eyes slowly. The hunters lay far away, crushed against the rocks, their bodies sparking with broken wires. The alien woman collapsed in his arms, exhausted. "I didn't mean to," she whispered weakly. "I didn't want to hurt anything." "You saved us," Evan said softly. "No," she whispered. "You saved me. You made me calm enough not to destroy everything." Evan helped her stand, though she could barely walk. "We need to keep moving before more of them come." She looked up at him, her eyes soft and full of something new, trust, deep and fragile. "Why are you helping me this much?" Evan didn't answer right away. He simply looked into those glowing eyes and said, "Because you needed someone. And I was here." She touched his hand lightly. "I wish I remembered more. But I remember this, you." Before Evan could respond, another deep sound echoed from the far side of the forest. Not like the hunters. Something bigger. Her eyes widened in fear. "That is not them. That is something worse." Evan tightened his grip on her hand. Their nightmare wasn't ending. It was growing. Asterisk. The sound that came from the far side of the forest was nothing like the metallic roar of the hunters. This one was deeper, older, and heavier, as if the earth itself was warning them. Evan felt the vibration travel up his legs through the soil. The alien woman stiffened immediately, gripping Evan's hand so tightly her fingers turned cold. "That sound," she whispered. "It is not a machine. What is it?" Evan asked, scanning the trees. She shook her head slowly. "I don't remember the name. But I remember the feeling. Fear. Big fear." Evan felt his throat tighten. They had barely survived the hunters, and now something stronger was coming. The night air grew still and cold again, as if the forest knew a powerful creature was approaching. Evan helped her move forward, but her legs were weak, almost unwilling. Her energy blast had drained her strength. She stumbled twice, and each time Evan caught her before she could fall. "We must reach your vehicle," she whispered. "If we stay here, we will not see sunrise." They kept walking, pushing through the trees toward the direction Evan remembered his truck was parked. But the forest felt different now. Every path looked unfamiliar, every shadow more threatening. The alien woman touched the nearest tree, her fingers glowing slightly. "What are you doing?" Evan asked. "I'm checking." "Memory," she said weakly. "Sometimes the world helps me remember." "What do you see?" She blinked slowly, her glowing eyes dimming. "Pieces. Only pieces. A lab. A bright room. Voices telling me to stay still. Pain in my head. Needles. Light. So much light." Evan felt anger rise inside him. "Your people did this to you?" She flinched. "Maybe, or maybe it was not my people anymore. Maybe something took us. Controlled us." Evan placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "You don't have to remember everything now. We just have to survive." She nodded, though her breathing remained heavy and unsteady. A distant tree cracked loudly, snapped in half by something powerful. The sound echoed like thunder through the forest. Evan felt chills run down his spine. "That thing. It's close." "Yes," she whispered. "It follows the hunters. It comes when they fail." "You mean it cleans up after them?" "It destroys everything," she said, eyes wide with terror. "Everything that stands in its path." Evan tightened his grip on her hand and led her toward a steep hill. "We have to move fast." They climbed carefully, using rocks and thick roots as steps. At the top of the hill, they could finally see a small part of the dirt road through the trees. Evan's heart jumped. His truck was close. But then the alien woman stopped suddenly. Her glowing eyes widened as if something struck her mind. "I remember," she whispered. Evan turned to her. "What do you remember?" She placed her hand over her chest, over the glowing markings. "The power inside me. It was not made to destroy." Evan frowned. What do you mean? It was made to protect, she said softly. I wasn't running from my people. I was running from those who stole me. Stole you? She nodded slowly, pain tightening her voice. Yes, shadow creatures. Machine creatures. They took me from my world. They wanted my energy. They wanted to use me to open something, a door, a gateway to their world. The forest trembled again from a far, heavy step. Evan felt the truth hit him like a cold wave. You were kidnapped. Yes, she whispered. And I escaped. But the escape broke my memory. I crawled through a portal. I fell into your forest. And when I landed, I sensed something. What? Evan asked. She stepped closer to him, her voice soft but strong. You? Me? Yes. She touched his chest right over his heart. Your mind was loud. Your spirit was strong. But your heart was calm, safe. You were alone. But not dark. I followed that, even without memory. Evan stared at her. You chose my tent. Because you felt safe near me. She nodded. I didn't want to scare you. I only wanted to rest. I thought I would sleep for a short time. But I slept too long. And they followed. Evan swallowed hard. Everything made sense now, but it also raised a new fear. Why would they want your power so badly? Before she could answer, the ground shook violently. Birds launched from the trees. A deep growl rolled across the forest, closer than before. The alien woman fell against Evan, trembling. It found us. Evan wrapped an arm around her, holding her steady. What is it? He asked, her glowing eyes filled with dread. A collector. A what? A creature that takes living beings and removes their energy. Hunters bring the target, and the collector does the final work. Evan felt ice crawl through his body. How do we stop it? He whispered. She looked at him with shaking breath. We don't. We run. We reach your vehicle. And we pray. Evan lifted her into his arms. Then hold on. Behind them, a massive shadow moved between the trees. Huge, silent, unstoppable. Evan slowly zipped open the tent door just a little. A thin line of cold night air entered, carrying the smell of wet leaves and something metallic. The moon was bright above, lighting the forest floor in pale silver. The alien woman grabbed his wrist. Don't go. He looked at her gently. I'm not going anywhere. I just want to see if they're close. Her glowing markings flickered with fear. They can hide. They can silence their steps. They are trained for capture. Capture who? Evan asked. She looked down, confusion crossing her face again. I don't know. But I feel they want me. Her voice shook on the last word. Evan took a slow breath and peeked outside again. At first he saw nothing. Then he saw eyes. 2 red circles glowing far between the trees, watching. Waiting, moving slowly from side to side, as if scanning the area. Another pair appeared in a different direction. Then a third. Each set glowed with the same cold, machine-like shine. Evan's heartbeat froze. They're surrounding us. The alien woman crawled closer to the tent door. When she saw the red eyes, she covered her mouth to stop herself from gasping. Her entire body curled in fear. Who? What are they? Evan whispered. They are hunters, she breathed. Not born, built? She nodded slowly. Machines mixed with flesh. Soldiers created only to track, catch, and return whoever they're ordered to capture. They were made by my people. Evan stared at her. Your own people made creatures to hunt you. She squeezed her eyes shut. Maybe I did something. Maybe I escaped something important. I don't remember. But I feel their anger. Another set of glowing red eyes appeared, much closer this time. Evan shut the tent door carefully. The air inside felt heavier. What do they want with you? I don't know, she whispered. "But they will not stop. They will follow me across forests, rivers, mountains, until they drag me back." Evan swallowed hard. "How far can they track?" She lifted her glowing hand and pointed to her chest. "They can sense the energy inside me. I cannot hide it completely." Evan felt his stomach twist. "So they already know you're here?" "Yes," she whispered. A low metallic growl rolled through the forest, long and sharp, like a machine testing its voice. It echoed through the trees and made the ground vibrate lightly. The alien woman covered her ears, trembling. Evan grabbed her shoulder gently. "We can't stay here." She looked at him with panic. "Where do we go?" "My truck," he said. "It's maybe 30 minutes away. If we move through the thick bushes, maybe they won't see us." She shook her head. "They will see. They see heat, sound, light. Everything. Then we'll be quiet," Evan whispered. Another metallic growl came from the right side of the forest. A second growl answered from the left side. The hunters were talking to each other, coordinating, closing in. Evan grabbed his backpack and stuffed essentials inside: water, flashlight, map, matches. He didn't know why he was doing this. He could have left. He could have run alone. But the thought of leaving her behind didn't feel right. "Come on," he whispered. The alien woman crawled to the tent entrance, but stopped. Fear kept her frozen. Evan noticed her breathing become fast and shallow. He placed a calming hand over hers. "You're not alone," he said quietly. "I'm here." The word surprised him. He didn't know he would feel so responsible, so protective, so quickly. But she looked at him softly, and her glowing eyes seemed to calm. She nodded. "Okay." Evan opened the tent slowly and stepped outside. The cold air hit his face. The forest was still again. Too still. He held the alien woman's hand, and they moved quietly between the trees, stepping only on soft soil to avoid noise. A few steps later, he stopped suddenly. A tall figure stood between the trees ahead, almost 8 feet tall, armor shining from the moonlight. Its body was part metal, part muscle, with long arms and a mask covering its face. Red eyes flickered behind, the mask like burning coals. The hunter tilted its head as if sniffing the air. Evan pulled the woman behind a fallen log. She gripped his shirt, trembling. The hunter stepped forward with silent, terrifying grace. Its claws dragged lightly across the rocks, making a sharp, cold scraping sound. Evan held his breath. The alien woman pressed her forehead to his back, trying not to cry. Then the hunter paused, turned, and began walking away slowly. But Evan saw its claws tighten. It knew someone was near. It would return. He knew they had only moments before the real hunt began. And he also knew this was no longer a simple escape. This was a war he did not understand. Evan waited behind the fallen log until the hunter disappeared into the deeper woods. Only when the glowing red eyes were gone did he allow himself to breathe again. The alien woman held tightly onto his arm, her fingers cold but shaking with life. She was small and light, but the fear inside her felt heavy, almost heavier than the night around them. "We have to move," Evan whispered. The woman nodded, wiping her trembling hands on her torn silver dress. Her glowing markings had dimmed again, creating a soft blue light on her skin that blended almost perfectly with the moonlight. But Evan knew the hunters could sense her energy no matter how faint it was. They began walking slowly, carefully stepping between roots and stones. Evan made sure she followed close behind him. The forest was strangely silent, as if every creature had hidden from something far worse than wolves or storms. Even the wind seemed afraid to blow. Evan glanced back. "Are you okay?" She nodded weakly. "Yes. But I feel something. Something coming." His throat tightened. "More hunters?" She closed her eyes, sensing the air. "No, something else. Something strong. Far, but moving." Evan didn't know what scared him more, the hunters he could see or the mysterious things she felt. They pushed deeper into the forest. Heading toward a narrow path Evan remembered passing earlier in the day. His truck was parked near a dirt road on the other side of the woods. If they reached it, maybe, just maybe, they could escape the forest before the hunters trapped them. As they walked, the alien woman suddenly stumbled. Evan caught her just before she hit the ground. "Hey, take it easy." She leaned on him, gripping his jacket. "The energy inside me. It is waking. Is that bad?" "Very." Her glowing markings brightened for a moment, pulsing like a heartbeat under her skin. The light shook and dimmed again. Sweat formed on her forehead. She pressed her hand against her chest and whispered, "I cannot control it." Evan helped her sit on a rock for a moment. "What does it do?" She shook her head. "I don't remember everything. But I know it was not meant for me. It was forced inside. It reacts to fear. If I panic, it becomes wild." Evan swallowed hard. "Can it hurt you?" "It can hurt everything," she whispered. Before he could ask more, a distant mechanical growl echoed through the trees. Evan flinched. The woman's body stiffened instantly. "They're close," she whispered. "We need to go," Evan said. Helping her up. They moved quickly now, no longer careful with their steps. Twigs cracked under their feet. Leaves rustled loudly. Evan didn't care anymore. They had to outrun the hunters, but soon the trees around them grew thicker. The path twisted like a maze. Evan pulled out his flashlight, but hesitated. Any light could reveal them. The alien woman grabbed his hand. "No light. They see light like fire." Evan put the flashlight away and guided her using the moonlight, and his memory of the forest. Suddenly, they heard a long, sharp metallic scream. The hunters had found their trail. Evan felt panic rising in his chest. "Run!" They sprinted between the trees. The woman struggled at first, but fear pushed her forward. Her feet barely touched the ground. Her markings glowed faintly, though she tried to hide them with her hands. Branches cut Evan's arms. Rocks hit his knees. He didn't stop. Behind them, the sound of metal footsteps shook the ground fast. Cold, unstoppable. "They are getting closer." The woman cried, "I know." They reached a narrow slope covered in thick bushes. Evan pushed her inside and crawled after her. The bushes were dense but quiet. They hid both light and heat. The hunter's footsteps reached the slope seconds later. Evan placed a finger over his lips. The alien woman covered her mouth, trying to silence her rapid breathing. Two hunters stood only a few feet away. They scanned the area with their red glowing eyes, their claws scraping the rocks near the bushes. One of them tilted its head, listening. Evan held the woman's hand tightly. Her entire body shook, and he could feel her pulse racing fast. The hunter suddenly crouched, sniffing the ground like an animal. Evan felt chills run down his spine. Then silence. The hunter stood up slowly and walked away, disappearing between the shadows. The second hunter followed, its metallic growl fading into the trees. Evan waited. 1 minute. 2 minutes. 5 minutes. Only when the forest became normal again did he exhale. "We're alive," he whispered. The woman collapsed against his shoulder, crying softly. "I can't." "Keep running." Evan placed a reassuring arm around her. "We don't stop. Not now. My truck is close. Once we get there, we drive. We don't look back." She lifted her head, tears shining like blue crystals. "You are risking your life for me." "Why?" Evan met her eyes. "Because you didn't choose this. And no one deserves to be hunted." She stared at him as if seeing something new, something she had never seen in any creature before. "Humans," she whispered. "You are different from the stories." Evan got up and helped her stand. "Come on. The worst part isn't behind us yet." And together, they walked deeper into the dark woods, not knowing that something far more dangerous than hunters was already waiting ahead. Evan did not remember falling asleep. He only remembered the cold wind outside his tent, the crackling of the campfire, and the calm silence of the forest. He was sure he had zipped the tent door tightly before lying down. He was sure there was no one near him. The forest had been empty for many hours, only the sound of insects and night birds kept him company. But now, in the middle of the night, something changed. He woke up with a strange pressure on his chest. At first, he thought it was only his sleeping bag rolled wrongly. But then he felt something warm, something alive, something breathing lightly on top of him. His eyes opened slowly, and he froze. There was weight on his chest, and it was not small. He could feel soft breaths on his neck. He could feel long hair brushing against his chin. His heartbeat jumped. His fingers trembled. He did not dare move. The tent was dark, and only a little moonlight came through the thin fabric. But it was enough to show a shape on top of him, curled like a child seeking warmth. Evans's mind raced with fear. A wild animal? A thief? Someone hiding from danger? Who entered his tent without making a sound? He swallowed slowly and forced himself to look down. What he saw made his whole body freeze. A woman, at least she looked like a woman, was lying on his chest. But she was not human. Her skin glowed faint blue in the dim light, as if soft stars lived under her skin. Her hair was long silver white, falling like a river over his shoulders and arms. Strange markings, glowing faintly like neon veins, ran across her neck and collarbone. Evan stopped breathing. Her hand rested directly over his heart, as if feeling his every heartbeat. Her body was warm, soft, and very light, almost weightless. She slept deeply, her face calm, almost peaceful. And yet, there was something broken. In the way she held herself, like she had run far, far away from something terrible. Evan wanted to scream, but the sound got stuck in his throat. His mind shouted, "This is not possible. This cannot be real." He tried to move his hand just a little to slide her off him. But the moment his arm shifted even an inch, the woman's eyes snapped open. Glowing, bright, unnatural. They were deep blue like ocean water under a full moon. For a moment, she did not speak. She only stared at him, wide-eyed, confused, shaking slightly. Evan did not know if she was going to scream, attack him, or run. Instead, she whispered one single word, a word that made his blood turn cold. "Hide." Her voice was soft, scared, and tired, like someone who had been running for hours. Before Evan could even understand, she pressed a trembling finger to her lips, telling him to stay quiet. Then her head lowered again, her ear resting close to his chest, as if she was listening. Listening for what? Suddenly, Evan heard it footsteps, slow, heavy, unnatural footsteps moving around outside his tent. The ground vibrated lightly with each step, as if the creature, or whatever it was incredibly large. He heard a faint metallic sound, like armor scraping against metal, then a low growl. Then silence. The alien woman tightened her grip on his shirt, her fingers shaking. Her glowing markings flickered like failing lights. Evan felt his throat dry. Someone or something was searching the forest, but who? And why was she hiding with him? The footsteps stopped right outside the tent. Evan could hear breathing deep, cold breaths that did not sound human. The tent fabric moved slightly from the creature's presence. Evan could almost feel its shadow crossing over him. He held his breath without meaning to. The alien woman pressed closer to him, her whole body trembling now. A strange metallic voice spoke outside in a harsh, broken language. Evan could not understand the words, but he felt the anger in them. The voice called out again, much louder this time. The woman on his chest suddenly grabbed his hand and whispered with fear shaking her voice, "Please, don't let them find me." Those words hit Evan harder than the weight on his chest. Who were they? Why were they searching the forest at night? Why was an alien woman hiding inside his tent? And how did she even find him? He did not know any answers. He did not even know if he should trust her. But he knew one thing. Something outside wanted her badly. And if they found her, they would not let him live either. Outside, the footsteps returned, walking away slowly, as if still searching, still hunting. Inside the tent, Evan and the mysterious woman remained silent. Both were breathing softly. Both were waiting for the danger to pass. Both were trapped in the same fear. And Evan knew. His life had just changed forever. The forest outside the tent slowly became quiet again. The heavy footsteps faded deeper into the trees, and the night returned to its cold, gentle silence. But inside the tent, Evan's heart was still beating fast, and the alien woman was still lying partly on his chest, breathing shakily as if she had barely escaped something terrible. When he felt the danger move away, Evan finally dared to speak. Who are you?" he whispered. The alien woman lifted her head slightly. Her glowing blue eyes met his, but instead of strength, Evan only saw fear and confusion in them. She tried to open her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Her lips trembled. She blinked a few times and looked around the tent as if she had no idea where she was. Then she touched her head softly, pressing her fingers against the sides of her temples. Her glowing markings flickered again, weak at first, then fading almost completely. I don't remember," she whispered. Evan stared at her. "You don't remember your name?" She shook her head. "Your home?" Another slow shake. "Why they're chasing you?" Her eyes widened, and her breath caught in her throat. She hugged her arms tightly around herself and whispered, I don't know anything, only fear." Evan felt something heavy inside his chest. She looked lost, broken, like someone who had escaped a nightmare but couldn't wake up yet. Her hair was messy, her skin had tiny scratches, and her clothes, strange silver cloth that looked softer than silk, were torn at the shoulders. She had clearly been running for a long time. He slowly sat up, helping her shift off his chest. She sat next to him, hugging her knees and shaking a little. Evan kept his voice low. "It's okay. You're safe here for now." Her eyes lifted, unsure. "Safe?" "I'll try," he said, not fully believing it himself. They stayed silent for a long moment, listening to the distant sounds of the forest. The moonlight outside grew brighter, and the tent glowed faintly. Then the woman whispered again, touching her head gently. "Something was done to me." Evan's eyebrows tightened. "Done to you?" She nodded slowly. "My mind, my memories. They feel broken. Like pieces missing. Someone erased them?" She looked down. "Maybe, or maybe I ran too fast. Maybe I fell. Maybe they hurt me." Her voice cracked on the last word. Evan felt a strange wave of protectiveness. Something deep, something sudden. He didn't know her. She wasn't even human. But something in the way she trembled made him want to help her. He reached for his backpack and handed her a bottle of water. She stared at it, confused, as if she didn't recognize the object. Evan twisted the cap and passed it again. This time, she took a small sip. Her eyes widened slightly. "It's warm," she whispered, surprised. Evan almost smiled. "That's because it was in my sleeping bag." She drank more, slower this time, and her shaking calmed. After a minute, she pointed toward the tent door. "The ones outside, they were looking for me." "Yeah," Evan said. "I could tell." Her hands tightened into small fists. "I don't know why. But when I saw your tent, I felt something. Something safe." Evan looked at her. "You chose my tent because you felt safe?" She nodded. "Your heart, it was quiet. Not angry, not dark." She placed a hand lightly on her chest. "I followed that feeling." Evan didn't know what to say. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't anyone special. He was just a man camping alone to clear his mind from stress. Yet this alien woman, lost and scared, had somehow sensed safety in him. She looked at him again, Can you help me?" Evan hesitated. He wanted to say no. He wanted to say he didn't know how. He wanted to say he wasn't strong or brave, or ready for whatever chased her, but when he saw her eyes, full of fear and trust at the same time, his answer came without thinking. "Yes, I'll help you." The alien woman's shoulders relaxed slightly, like a small weight had been lifted. She whispered, "Thank you, human. What should I call you?" Evan asked gently. She opened her mouth, then stopped. Confusion crossed her face again. Her eyes dimmed, and her glowing markings flickered weakly. "Don't know," she whispered. "I have no name." Evan took a slow breath. "Then we'll find it later." Suddenly, a cold wind hit the tent, making the fabric shake. The woman flinched and grabbed Evan's arm tightly. "Are they back?" she whispered. "No," Evan said, listening carefully, "but they're still out there." Her hand would not let go of his arm. Evan looked toward the forest through the thin tent wall. He knew one thing for sure, now the danger wasn't gone. The hunters were still searching, still moving, still tracking her, and he had just promised to protect her. The night wasn't over. The fear wasn't gone. Their journey had only begun. The forest looked peaceful from inside the tent, but Evan knew the silence was fake. It felt too perfect, too controlled, as if the night itself was holding its breath. The alien woman sat close to him, knees against her chest, her glowing eyes watching the tent door with painful fear. Evan could still feel the light tremble in her body. Outside, the last echo of footsteps had faded. But he knew those things were not gone. They were only spreading out, searching. Evan ran through the forest with the alien woman in his arms. Her body felt lighter than a normal human's, but fear made her cling tightly to his shirt. Every step he took shook with adrenaline. Every breath burned in his lungs. Yet he didn't stop, not when the ground trembled behind them. Not when huge branches cracked like bones. Not even when the night filled with the deep, terrifying growl of the collector. The collector wasn't like the hunters. It didn't rush. It didn't chase. It approached slow, confident, certain that nothing could escape it. The forest around them grew darker, as if shadows gathered together. Evan could sense its massive size even without looking. Each heavy step made the trees sway. Sometimes he caught a glimpse of its shape, huge spider-like legs, a long metallic body, and a glowing red center like a beating heart of fire. The alien woman whispered, terrified, "Don't look back. Don't let it see your eyes." Evan kept his focus forward. The dirt road appeared ahead. His truck was just beyond it. But the path was steep and slippery. "We're almost there," he whispered breathlessly. The woman held his face gently. "If it catches me, don't fight. Run. Save yourself." Evan almost laughed from disbelief. "Not happening." "You don't understand," she whispered. "A collector only stops when the target dies. If I fall into its hands, you cannot stop it." "I don't have to stop it," Evan said, pushing forward. "I just have to save you." Before she could argue, the forest behind them exploded with movement. The collector arrived. Trees tore from the ground. Branches snapped like sticks. The ground cracked under its weight. A huge shadow rose behind them, towering, monstrous. Evan heard the clicking of its limbs and the deep mechanical hiss of its breath. The sound alone was enough to freeze most people in fear. Evan did not freeze. He tightened his grip on the alien woman and ran, faster toward the road. The collector let out a sound half roar, half metallic scream. A bright red beam shot past them, burning a long line across the ground. Evan stumbled but kept his balance. "It's trying to trap us," the alien woman cried. Evan pulled her close. "Hold on, don't let go." With the last of his strength, he leaped over a fallen tree, slid down a small hill, and finally reached the dirt road where his truck waited. The truck looked small and powerless, but right now it was their only hope. He opened the door and helped her inside. "Buckle up." She stared at the seatbelt, confused. I don't know how. Evan fastened it for her, then jumped to the driver's side and turned. The key. The truck roared to life, but the forest behind them roared louder. The collector burst out from the trees, standing taller than the highest branches. It moved on its massive legs, shaking the entire road with each step. Its red center glowed brighter and brighter. Evan floored the gas, pedaled. The truck shot forward. The collector let out another scream and began chasing them. Its legs crashed against the road, each step faster than the one before. Evan felt the whole truck shake from the creature's speed. The alien woman grabbed his arm. It's catching up. Not if I can help it, Evan shouted. He swerved sharply, kicking up dust and gravel. The truck bounced violently on the rough road. The collector's shadow grew behind them, stretching long and wide, covering everything. The alien woman pressed her hand against her chest. Evan, listen, my energy. You helped me control it before. Do it again. Evan glanced at her. Her markings were glowing wildly, bright and unstable. What do you need? He asked. She took a trembling breath. Hold my hand. Evan grabbed her hand tightly with one hand while steering with the other. Immediately, her glowing lines steadied. Her heartbeat slowed. The wild energy calmed. I can do it now, she whispered. But I need your calm. Evan nodded. I'm right here. She closed her eyes, lifted her other hand, and pointed it toward the back window. A bright blue wave of energy burst from her palm, stronger, cleaner, and more controlled than before. It hit the ground behind the truck, exploding into pure light. The collector screamed as the blast hit its legs. Its metallic limbs folded from the shock. It stumbled, crashing into the trees with a thunder that shook the sky. Evan kept driving, not slowing for a second. The alien woman collapsed back into her seat, exhausted. I stopped it. Evan squeezed her hand gently. We stopped it. She looked at him, eyes soft and full of gratitude. I remember something else now. What? Why I chose you. Why I trusted you. She took a slow breath. Your kind, humans, have something powerful. Something no machine can copy. Something no hunter or collector understands. Evan raised an eyebrow. What's that? She smiled weakly. Heart. He exhaled, almost laughing. I'm just a normal guy. She shook her head. No, you saved me when no one else would. That makes you more than normal. The road finally opened wide, leaving the dark forest behind. The night sky spread above them, safe, quiet, and full of stars. Evan looked at the woman beside him, tired, lost, but alive. What's your name? He asked gently. She looked at her glowing hands. I know it now. Her eyes met his. My name is Araya. Evan smiled. Araya, that's beautiful. She leaned her head softly against his shoulder. I'm not alone anymore. Evan kept driving, holding her hand tightly, because now he understood. He wasn't just saving one alien. He had just saved an entire race. And his life would never be the same again.